Episode 3 of The Acolyte is here, the episode that is apparently going to break Star Wars forever. Let's talk about it. Hello there, welcome to the channel. Tonight we're talking about The Acolyte, episode 3 called Destiny. Straight up, didn't think we'd be getting this episode so soon. I expected the Brendok episode, the flashback, to be a little bit later in the season, so I'm actually surprised that it was so early in the season. So in this episode, we get to see the origin of May and Osha on Brendok and the Coven of Witches, and we also meet Mother Anastasia, the leader of that coven, and the twins' mother, Mother Coral. So let's jump straight into the thing that everyone's freaking out about, this little exchange between Anastasia and Coral.
I carried them. I created them. And what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them?
If I'm not mistaken, May and Osha are born through the manipulation of the Force, right? That's what they're getting at there, yeah? That raises a ton of questions, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kinda into it. I know, I think this is the thing that everyone's freaking out about. This was a massive curveball. Like, I did not have this on my bingo card at all, and I am incredibly intrigued as to how this is going to play out. Now, I've seen people bitching about this for like the last week, saying that this is going to destroy Star Wars lore, Star Wars canon, destroy the fan base, yap, yap, yap. One thing you need to remember is that we are not in the EU anymore. As much as you might hate that fact, a lot of that stuff is just not canon anymore. It's just the pure fact of it, okay? Parts of it have been brought over into canon, and parts of it haven't. The Darth Plagueis book, in particular, which I think is relevant to this conversation, which I read very recently and is a fantastic read. It really is great. I love it. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. But that book, sadly, is not canon anymore. So I assume the thing that people are mad about is the fact that Anakin is no longer the first person to be born or conceived through the Force, right? Is that it? Anakin was technically a byproduct of the experiments by Plagueis and Sidious, kind of like the Force fighting back against their manipulation and corruption of the Force and their attempt to create like a living embodiment of it. I don't know, that stuff always sort of confused me anyway. So yeah, it's really interesting. I really want to know the specifics about Anastasia creating the twins and whether or not the Jedi will find out about that. And if any among them are going to be like, ooh, a person born of the Force, could this be the Chosen One prophecy? Because obviously we know that they're not the Chosen Ones, or Chosen One, but they don't. So I wonder if there are any Jedi among them that are believers in that prophecy. Because not everyone in the Order believes in the prophecy, you got to remember that. So I really want to see how this plays out, and I just do hope that it does factor into the plot and these characters going forward. It does make me wonder if Darth Smiley, whoever he is interested in May because they've learnt that they were born of the Force. Could it be Tenebrous? I don't know if it's the right timeline for Plagueis. I don't know, but I'm very interested to see where this goes. And I really hope that they don't breeze past this and not address it further, because you just can't drop a big bomb like that and then ignore it. It just brings up way too many interesting questions, and they're questions that I would love to have answered because it's very interesting. So I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to play out, and if the Jedi prophecy will be brought up at some point, and just to know exactly how Anastasia created them, whether it was through the Force, whether it was through some other means. I'm not sure, because I'm assuming that she's using the Force and they're just calling it the Thread. I don't know if they're just using magic with a K there. I'm not sure. So yeah, seeing young May and Osha was fun. I did find their dialogue to be a little bit stiff, but I'm not going to be giving kid actors a hard time over this. This fanbase has a horrible record of treating child actors horribly, and I'm not going to be a part of that. I did just find some of their scenes to be a little wooden and a little unnatural. They weren't the best. I'm very interested in the Anastasia Witch Coven. I hope we learn a little bit more about them. I thought they were going to actually be closer to a Path of the Open Hand type deal, who are a cult that basically think that the Force shouldn't be used at all. And that's one of the reasons they hate the Jedi, because they use the Force and manipulate the Force, and they're like, well, no, it should be free. The Force should be free. But I was very wrong about that, and they just seem to have a bit of a different viewpoint of the Force if it is in fact what they're using, then they seem to have no problem using it. I did like how they called it a thread, basically, which is also what the Great Mothers in Ahsoka called it, the thread of destiny, using their magic. I thought that was a nice little connection. Enjoyed that. What else? May is not a good person. May, man, that kid sucks. Burning down the place to stop her sister from going with the Jedi seems like a bit of an overreaction. Yeah, May, you kind of suck. Now, seeing the 4 Jedi come to Brendok, though, and seeing them want to test the twins, it's one of those things where it does feel like the Jedi are sort of stretching their authority a bit here. I know Osha wants to go with them, but it really does paint the Jedi as overstepping their bounds a bit here, so I think that's an interesting direction to take it, because I do kind of like that stuff. Because as much as I enjoy the idea of the Jedi, sort of like Balin's skull here, I like the idea of it. I do think that sometimes they can overstep their bounds. It's one of the reasons I really like Andor and parts of Rogue One so much, where they painted the rebellion as not being these squeaky clean good guys. You know, sometimes people in the rebellion had to do bad things in order to do what was ultimately the right thing, you know? And that's something that I like. So I like seeing that the Jedi are sort of getting some of the shine taken off of them a little bit, and that they are maybe not always making the right decisions. Because obviously, at least to me, there is no way in hell that we have seen everything that went down that night on Brendok. There is no way that that fire and the explosion that happened afterwards killed that entire Coven. We are missing some stuff here. Look at Torben's face at the very end there when they're on the ship. He's looking a little bit bloody on the face there. We have not been shown the entire altercation. Nothing we've seen here that happened in this episode is making Torben take the bearish vow and kill himself. We are getting another flashback to this night, probably from May's perspective, or maybe just the other Jedi. But yeah, we have not seen the entire picture here, and I'm very excited to see what's going to go down. Overall, I think that might be about all I have to say. Really liked the episode. Thought it was a little bit of a weird spot to have it, though. I honestly didn't expect this flashback episode to be so soon into the season. I honestly expected it, you know, episode 5 or 6 or something like that. So it was a little bit disappointing to have it now, kind of, because I really wanted to... Sorry, I keep hitting the bloody pop filter. I really wanted to continue with the present day story, but we'll get back there next week. But this did fill in some gaps and answer some questions, but at the same time also raised a bunch of new questions. So yeah, I liked it. I think I preferred the first 2 episodes a little bit more than this one, but I think this one was a good to fill in the gaps and give us a lot of background for those characters. So I am keen for episode 4 next week. On to the bingo card. I do not think I'm actually ticking anything off this week. May's a twin, Kalnaka body slam, nothing yet, no lightsabers, Plagueis mentioned, no. New force power, I'm not going to give myself there, because I don't know if the conception through the force or conceiving through the force is new. We haven't seen it on screen technically, and still technically we haven't seen it on screen. We've only seen the after effects, so I'm not going to give myself that one yet. Nothing else there. I did notice though, if I get Smiley killing at least 3 Jedi, I get a bingo on the diagonal, so that'll be a first for me. But yeah, nothing else this week. I got maybe close to the Chosen One prophecy, if they bring that up at some point in the season, with May and Osha being born of the Force, so I might get that one. I'm really intrigued. I did not expect some of the things that happened in this episode to happen in this show at all, and I'm excited to see where they're going to take it, and I hope it's not just a bit of a drop and run type thing, that they are going to explore this further, and I'm excited to see what happens. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next week with another video on the Acolyte when episode 4 comes out. As always, thank you for watching. Like I said, if you like this and you like Star Wars, make sure you follow me here, and yeah, thank you. May the Force be with you, always.